Hey friends, welcome back to Evocative Scents. Finally, the weather is starting to cool down a bit and I can include more richer and dark fragrances in the upcoming videos as well as today. In this video, I will be selecting 10 fragrances with different possible combinations that will be suitable for various scenarios, be it office or casual. And many of these fragrances will also be unisex. And one thing I can assure you, all of these fragrances are going to be very affordable. If you're tuning into the channel for the first time, consider subscribing to this channel because your support truly means a lot to me. So find out about these 10 perfumes coming right up. The 10th fragrance of this list is a new release from the house of Armaf. It is from their Odyssey lineup, so it is going to be slightly cheaper than their Club de Nuit lineup. Although I would keep this fragrance in the gourmand category, it still smells more like a perfume, not overly sweet and edible like. What I am getting from this perfume is a beautiful roasted pistachio note, mixed up with some cardamom along with little bit of chocolate, but it is more focused on that coffee note. There is still some sweetness to round it all up, but if you are looking for extremely sweet fragrances, you might be a little bit disappointed. On the other hand, if you like complex and a bit unique fragrance, it can be totally worth it trying. So basically you are going to get a nutty, chocolatey and coffee fragrance. While I am still testing out this fragrance, I am getting about 5 to 6 hours of longevity with an hour of good projection. While this is still an initial impression, I will be testing this fragrance in even cooler condition. On to the 9th fragrance of this list. It is the Island from the house of Kadal. It is their take on the JPG Le Beau Le Parfum and they have done a really good job. But this is definitely not a one-to-one clone of that fragrance. With this fragrance, you are going to get that signature coconut note, but with a heavy dose of sweetness. And for that reason, I think that this particular perfume is more suited for the cooler weather. It has very good performance and is very smooth. I have done a full review, so if you are interested in this fragrance, do check that video out. Now this is a perfectly unisex fragrance, but I would recommend you to give this fragrance a try and see whether you like it or not. Well, on to the 8th fragrance of this list. It is from the house of Hassan U and perhaps this is their most popular perfume, the Seaside Forest. This one is inspired from the Guerlain vetiver. Unlike the Lalique Encre Noir, this one is a lot brighter, spicier and citrusy take on that vetiver. Although this fragrance is not as fresh as the fresh vetiver from the same house, it is still quite a bright fragrance, but much more complex. You will get that peppery kick in the opening along with lot of citruses, and then comes the vetiver. But it is not very dirty or earthy, more of a green vetiver. It is also combined with some woody facet along with a little bit of sandalwood. So overall it is a very smooth fragrance that will particularly shine in the rainy weather. On the performance front, I get about 5 to 6 hours of longevity and it is very loud during the first hour. Now this cologne leans heavily towards the masculine side and is great for formal occasions or office. A compliment getting fragrance that you must try. Moving on to the 7th fragrance of this list. It is the Kamra Dukan, a new launch from the house of Latafa. This one is a smokier, spicier, slightly less sweet and more refined than the original Kamra. If today I would have to recommend any Kamra, then I would pick the Kahwa or this one. But if you already have the original Kamra, I would not recommend you to get this one. In the performance section, it is once again top notch. Like all previous releases of the Kamra, it has sticky sweetness along with a little bit of spiciness. As this fragrance dries down, I actually get little bit of powdery element with it. I would suggest you to watch the full review for even more details. Now to the 6th fragrance of this list. If you don't want very sweet fragrances like the Kamra or a perfume that is more versatile and can also be used as an office fragrance but unisex at the same time, then the CK Defy Parfum is an excellent choice. In my humble opinion, this is their best fragrance in the Defy lineup and definitely a notch higher than rest of their Calvin Klein fragrances. You get slightly spicy and fruity opening with the aromatic lavender taking the center stage. And there is also a slight hint of chocolatey sweetness to give this perfume more depth and richness. Performance is about 6 to 8 hours of longevity on clothes, but expect the projection to be on the softer side. It is a very underrated fragrance and you can find it on sale for many times. It is one of the highly suggested fragrance from my side. You can also find the full review of this fragrance on my channel. The next fragrance of this list is from the house of Zimaya. It is the Itka Noir. Although the name and the bottle design may suggest you that it is a dark fragrance, it is actually not. In fact, it is just the reverse. Clean, bright, powdery and mass appealing in nature and a very high quality and refined fragrance, I must say. The scent profile is very similar to the YSL Myself EDP, not the Le Parfum flanker. The star note of this perfume is that orange blossom. Slightly sweet, clean and powdery with little bit of citrusy accords at the top makes this an excellent perfume for office and also a fine fragrance for the dating scenario, all at a fraction of the price of YSL Myself EDP. This is also a very highly refined fragrance, so you are not going to get any alcohol blast with it, and it is also one of the best affordable fragrances I have tried out this year. On the performance front, I get about 5 to 7 hours of longevity. In the hot and humid days, it's about 5 to 6 hours, with around 7 to 8 hours on clothes on cooler days. If you like the soft, sweet, powdery smell that will definitely get you compliments, then this one is highly recommended. Now to the fourth fragrance of this list, the Bombay Wood from the house of Ahmad Al-Maghribi. Generally, the wood fragrances are very polarizing in nature, but this one is not very pungent or animalic in nature because there is some sandalwood in the base which helps in mellowing down the wood note. This one is going to be a very unique fragrance, not a fragrance that I would recommend you to blind buy. There is a bit of fruitiness at the top which fades away very quickly. I also get prominent rose with this cologne, but with a suede-like smell due to the leather accord. This perfume can be an option for special occasions, something that will stand out from rest of the fragrances. Performance is excellent like many other Ahmad Al-Maghribi fragrances. An easy 8 hours of longevity with 2 hours of decent projection, but I would suggest you to try this fragrance in cooler weather. It can be very cloying in hot weather. I would say this is a mature fragrance, and if you are into wood and sandalwood fragrances, then you can take a look at this fragrance. It comes with a beautiful packaging, an excellent bottle design, and of course with a long lasting and unique smell. So overall a great package. Once again, check out the full review, I had covered it last year. Now we are heading into the top 3 fragrances of this list. It is the Vintage Radio from the Latafa Pride series. A very interesting fragrance that smells very high quality and very expensive as well. There is some fruitiness from the plum, some green elements along with a little bit of aromatic lavender, and it dries down to a smooth woody base. This is a perfectly unisex fragrance. I would also categorize this into an extremely versatile fragrance. The deep, rich sweetness in this perfume makes this smell as compliment getting as well. The performance is on the average side with 5 to 6 hours of longevity and an hour of projection. On to the second fragrance of this list. This one is again from the house of Ahmad Al-Maghribi. I haven't done a full review of this fragrance, but I will be covering it soon. In my opinion, Black Fume is an underrated gem from this house. What's even better, it is from their affordable series, and I find this one to be much more interesting than the Frost Ice. It opens up with a juicy sweet raspberry note, but once this fragrance settles down, it gets completely transformed to a different smell. It gets darker, resinous with little bit of powdery effect as well. I will be covering it in the full review soon. I will be discussing about the performance and the smell in depth in the upcoming full review video. So subscribe to this channel if you haven't already done so, and don't forget to hit that like button as well. And finally, the number 1 fragrance of this list. It is the Club de Nuit Précieux. Now this perfume, like many other fragrances on this Club de Nuit lineup, takes inspiration from the Creed Aventus, but with added sweetness and little bit more floral elements in it. Personally, I find this perfume to be the most refined fragrance among all the Club de Nuit flankers, which work on the Creed Aventus DNA. The versatility and the performance factor is excellent. The only drawback with this fragrance is that it doesn't come in 100 ml. The prices have started to come down a bit recently, and that is the reason I am recommending this fragrance on the number 1 spot. Now this DNA is one of the most popular DNA in the perfume industry, and that's for a good reason as well. People love to wear it because it gets them compliments. You will get that signature pineapple smell with some floral elements and little bit of green elements, and with a touch of sweetness as well. Give this fragrance a try if you haven't already done so. So what are your thoughts on all of these fragrances, and what is your favorite perfume from this list? Do let me know in the comment section down below. And if you have feedback for this or any of my previous videos, feel free to comment down below. And if you took anything value from this video, do consider hitting that like button as it helps with the YouTube algorithm. Consider hitting that subscribe button if you want more fragrance related content. And that's it for today's video. I will meet you all in my next video. Till then, stay safe and as always, stay honest.